look around. Imagine, instead of modern buildings, the landscape covered in towering western red cedars. That's how the area looked to its original inhabitants, the Coast Salish First Nations peoples.
150 passengers rolled into the new station and changed this area for good.
To encourage growth and the passengers and freight fees it would bring, the CPR company sold some of its 25 million acres to farmers, making a tidy profit. Within a couple of decades, this tiny logging town had become a city of 120,000 people, and the indigenous population was displaced.
But that was the power of the Canadian Pacific Railway. They even picked our name. Van Horn didn't like the name Granville, and as more people recognized Vancouver Island west of here, thought that would be Vancouver's Rodeo Drive.
Vancouver's original streets. It's been the city's commercial heart since 1895. Back then, streetcars ran down the middle of the street, giving shoppers easy access to the latest fashions and finest goods.
And as new Canadians arrived from around the globe, Robson Street flourished. In fact, during the 1950s, of Stanley Park is owned by the federal government. It was set aside for military purposes, but in 1886, Vancouver City Council wanted the land for a park, which opened in 1888.
Part of the idea was to give the growing city a little space for recreation, but it also prevented development next to the very high-end West End, which meant that land and house prices could keep climbing.
In November of 1908, because Stanley Park is so big, at 408 hectares, it's larger than New York's Central Park. There's sure to be a spot or site for everyone. For example, coming up here on our right is the Rose Garden, which dates back to 1920 and now has over 3,500 rose bushes.
Then, on the left, is the Shakespeare Garden, full of trees Shakespeare mentioned in his writings.
Bus tours bus stop for Stanley Park and the Vancouver Aquarium. Hop off to enjoy everything the park has to offer. And they even wove baskets, fishing nets, and clothing from its bark.
Nearly every part of the red cedar can be used. Even the roots can be dried and turned into cords for weaving. The withes, those young, flexible branches,
The corporate headquarters for West Coast Energy.
the huge steel cables that stretch across the top of the building and down the sides were designed to handle seismic activity in our earthquake-prone area. It has a concrete central core, but no other interior columns.
The building was redeveloped from office space to condominiums in 2006, and they offer some really cool views of Cole Harbor.
And staff still spot her, dressed in red, running through the hotel where she attended so many events.
Down to Sunset Beach.
If you're hopping off here, make sure you remember your tickets.
See you soon.
Happy exploring!
Thanks, everyone!
Pictures represent the fires soldiers huddled around to stay warm on the battlefield.
This is one of the best views in the city. Looking west to our right, there's Sunset Beach, great for swimming, relaxing, or soaking up the atmosphere at one of the many public events that happen there, like Vancouver Pride. It sits in English Bay, which opens out to Burrard Inlet, which is where the bridge gets its name from.
Even further out, you can see the high-end neighborhoods on the hillside above West Vancouver, the awesome skiing spots at Cypress Mountain, and on a clear day, you can get views out to Bowen Island. great for an island escape.
And looking over to our left, that's Granville Island, once an industrial hub, now a hub for art and culture. Served in Afghanistan at the start of this century.
Above the entrance, you can see their regimental badge, copied from the original Seaforth Highlanders in Scotland. It dates from 1263, when a clan member rescued Scottish King Alexander II from a stag. And the text below, Cudic Henri, means help the king.
We are now heading towards Granville Island.
Welcome aboard the Big Bus Tour of Vancouver. I'm David, and along with Chloe
Hiya!
and Charlotte,
Hello, everyone.
I'll be your guide for today.
We're now heading over the Granville Street Bridge towards BC Place, Chinatown, Gastown, and Canada Place. The fun's not over yet, folks!
And remember, you can hop on and...
We're now turning onto the Granville Street Bridge, heading back into downtown Vancouver over False Creek.
False Creek was once a major industrial hub with noisy sawmills and bustling factories. These days, all that's left is Heidelberg Materials, whose painted silos we can see down to the right. A huge fire in 1960 and a decline in the local lumber industry put the area into a steep decline until Expo 86.
Expo 86 was a transportation-themed World's Fair type event to be held in Vancouver, which by the 1980s was a city in transition. Industries were closing down, and the city was starting to lose its identity.
The organizers wanted to create something lasting, so they put in a lot of cash. Creating the event spaces and infrastructure cost the city $802 million, or nearly $2 billion today. But millions of people attended from all over the world. And many credit the expo with truly revitalizing not just False Creek, but also the city itself. It gave us the SkyTrain, Canada Place, BC Place Stadium, and Science World.
Then, in 2010, Vancouver hosted the Winter Olympics. And the rest of the creek was redeveloped for the Athletes' Village. The transformation from a city of lumber and sawmills into a city of glass was complete.
Ooh, just take a look at that skyline. A forest of skyscrapers built to bring the downtown back to life. We're a city on the up.
So just a quick look at our hotel room in Vancouver at the Pinnacle Hotel Harbourfront. I did book city view rooms, but somehow ended up with harbour view, and there's glass there. I'll probably not remember that. What a lovely view. When you make it across the other side, there's a little cabin for food, and you get to eat with squirrels. There's one. Oh.
You get a sticker?
this morning we are at the Rocky Mountaineer train station. We're doing a 2-day train trip out to Jasper in the Rocky Mountains. It's going to be very interesting. Hopefully we get to see some fluffy things.